Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you had a great week. I certainly have, and today the week was capped off by receiving this sample copy of the Ghosts Betwixt in the mail. This is something I've been dreaming of for more than 4 years, and I absolutely cannot wait to share this with you, what's inside. So, one thing before we get started I want to preface this little unboxing with is I did receive 2 sample copies, which I wasn't expecting. So before I did a live unboxing with you all, I wanted to take a quick peek into the other one just to make sure what was in here wasn't going to be a giant surprise or a giant swing and a miss, because that would be quite embarrassing. So I did take a little peek and was very pleased with what I found, and yes, there is a game in here. A very good game, I believe, and I hope you guys are excited for it as much as I am. So, now there is, I will mention, thank God this is a sample copy, because there's a few things that must have gotten lost in translation. That's probably just the nature of designing and printing board games internationally. So I'll explain the areas where your copy will vary from the copy we are about to see. So let's take a look, shall we? Well, first of all, look at this box. We're familiar with the cover. It looks gorgeous. I have yet to, so we've had the printed cover from the prototype, but the sides are new. And of course, the back of the box is new. And I just think Cole and of course Travis with the art, absolute home run. I'm so excited with how this looks. Let's do it. All right, so first of all, we got that nice matte finish, which I just love. Take a little peek inside. All right, so the first thing you see, of course, in the sample copy, we'll see what happens in the final copy, but you have your quick play guide. So the quick play guide is intended to, of course, help you get the Ghosts Betwixt to your table as fast as possible. So 90%, well, really 100% of what you need to know to start playing the game is in here. And it is only basically 11 pages worth of text. If you can see down there. So this game is, I don't want to say it's complicated. I definitely don't think it's fiddly, but there is a lot of depth to it by design. So a lot of that depth is found in the rules reference. All right, so things like leveling up, learning new talents, building the new deck equipment collections, which is how you find better and better equipment. That's all explained in here as you progress through the campaign. But to get the game to the table, everything you need to know is right in here. Fairly big text, so it's not very daunting, and there is a lot of diagrams in here to explain exactly what you need to do to start playing. So that was very important to us, that the onboarding of this game was quick and easy for anybody to play. So I'm really excited about the quick play guide and how that turned out. The rules reference, this is your standard rule book. Again, lots of pictures, lots of diagrams, which is important to us. Spent an absolute ton of time on this, trying to refine the text, make it as descriptive as possible while condensing the text to make it as easy on you to read. Really tried to remove the burden from you as a player trying to learn how to play this game. A lot of the games that I play and do enjoy, in my opinion, sometimes it's hard to just get the game going, so that's where this comes in. This helps refine it. In the quick play guide, I promise I won't spend too much time on this, there's a lot of references like the fighting phase, 1D and 3A, if if you can see that, that is referring to the sections in the rules reference where you can learn more about the fighting phase. All right, so pretty exciting. And then at the end of the rules reference, we have a handy index. Yep, index, just making sure we called it that. So all the key words in the game are found in here alphabetically. So if you come across a card which says, oh, I don't know, charge tokens, you can simply charge token here, go to page 8, flip over to page 8, and there's the charge token right there. So you can read about that. So as you can see, we've tried to hit the rules from all different angles. Here we have our beautiful mission guide. This is number one little tweak I'm gonna have to make for the final copy. Now, this thing is beautiful. I am not going to spoil anything, but you guys have seen mission 1. So let's see, let's find you a good page here. Well, first of all, here's your starting gear section. So that is where the family have learned about Richie being kidnapped, and they have, Joan says, let's get in the minivan in 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, find what you can around the house to help us go save Richie from the Worlds of Terror haunted house ran by the Bennett family. So these are the pieces of gear available to you, slingshots and baseball bats and things of that nature. So that's kind of the first thing you do when you start the game, is find that starting gear. And then mission 1, I mean, looks pretty beautiful. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but as you can see me flipping through, tons of color, lots of different amazing art from Cole. He really took the concept that we wanted to go for and just absolutely ran with it. So it looks great. Now, what I was referring to that we need to tweak is we do have this, I believe that's called perfect binding. Unfortunately, that has eaten up some of our margin. So some of the text has unfortunately entered the crease here. So we're gonna have to figure that out, and hopefully we can do this type of binding, just the staple binding, or if we have to even work in a spiral binding. All right, so this thing is amazing. I absolutely love how it looks. The pages are in order. That's very important. So home run on this, we'll figure out this binding issue. Next up, our punch boards. These things turned out incredible. The colors really pop. This feels like really good quality cardboard to me. And then here's your first look at the map, the map tiles. So they're nice and flat. And you can see how the color pops. So you got the kitchen. So this is map tile 3. 3A is the kitchen. Flipping on the back side, you have a haunted house map tile. So these are quite lovely. We'll come back to these as I show you guys the stands, or sorry, the plastic bases. But yeah, let's flip through these real quick. But they're kind of the map tiles are heavy, so they're kind of falling out. So you get the idea. These look incredible. Okay, there is one which I don't want you to see. Whoop. So this is hiccup number 2. That map tile I just removed has some surprises on it that is supposed to be in here. Notice it says, caution, do not open until completing mission 3. So that punch board is supposed to be in here because there's some amazing surprises. Also, you noticed I did not pull this envelope out of the box. It was shipped separately, I mean in the same package, but not in the box. I don't know why. This is supposed to be at the bottom of the box, this box. So we'll need to figure that out as well. So no problem, just again, I guess miscommunication, we'll call it that. I was extremely detailed, you know, in our communication, but again, I understand that things happen. So it's not a problem at all. I'm glad we're catching this stuff before we're printing, you know, bulk amount of copies. Okay, so let's check out, here's your plastic bases. You have all your black bases, those are for your monsters. And then you do have red for Maddox, green for Bill, yellow for Avalon, and blue for Joan. Let me show you how that works. So we're gonna take Bill, pop him out, Maddox, pop him out, and then we'll find their standees. You just slide them straight into that plastic base, and you will never need to pull Maddox out of his base ever again. And same with Bill. Simple as that. They look pretty great. The punch board is really, really nice quality. Okay, let me show you how the monsters work real quick. Let's grab a Unslender Man and a Moon Ritualist. Same thing, you simply slide them in to plastic bases, the black ones. Now you will be pulling out the standees and placing them in plastic bases as you go along. So here's a question, and you probably know the answer by now. How are we going to determine, let's say we have multiple Moon Ritualists that have spawned and are fighting our family. So we have 2 Moon Ritualists. Who's number 1, who's number 2? Glad you asked. That's why we have these handy dandy sticker sheet. So what you're going to do, there's instructions right down here on how to use the stickers. You are going to use all these stickers before you start playing, and you'll stick number 1 on the plastic base. Try to get it more in the middle than I did. That's okay. It'll come off like so. And then you're going to put the same number on the back. Just like that. And then you're also going to have a plastic standee for number 2. Multiple, that is. You're going to have multiple plastic bases for number 1, number 2. I won't get into necessarily why, but it's just going to help organize the monsters in the fights. You know exactly this Ritualist has 4 health left, and this one only has 1 health left. He's about to die. So you can see Moon Ritualist 1 and 2. And then let's say you kill them, and you have a Bennett Lackey and a Foliage Fella. Well, then you can just reuse these same plastic bases. And boom, Foliage Fella number 1. Bennett Lackey number 2. So that's how that works. That's how the stickers and the plastic bases work alongside our standees. Okay, next up. Oh, and here's a little exclusive teaser for you. There's a purple one. Why? You'll find out maybe after completing mission 3. We'll find out. I can't wait for you guys to complete mission 3. We'll leave it at that. All right, let's look at some equipment cards. So these are in order. Hopefully you might not be able to see, but yeah, you can because it's focusing on me and not the cards, but that's okay. At the bottom it says base equipment starting 001. The next card is the Rootin' Tootin' Water Pistol, which is number 2. Little Johnny's First Pocket Knife, which is number 3. So these cards are all in specific order, which is going to help you keep everything organized. Of course, you're going to shuffle these cards up, but these cards are, not all the cards are needed at the start of the game. For example, this says stop, don't open until completing mission 1. There's more equipment cards in here that you're going to unlock as you do certain things. I won't get too into it, but you're going to earn monster trophies. You can spin those monster trophies to unlock equipment collections. Equipment collections are 5 to 6 new equipment cards that you then shuffle into their respective decks, and then you would then have a chance to draw those new cards, the better equipment. So cards 1 through 56. This is your base equipment deck. The first, what is it? Yeah. All right, so cards 1 through 17, these are your starting equipment cards. That is what I referred to earlier on page 1 of the mission guide that are available to you from the beginning of the game. So there's that decision making right from the get-go of, do you want Joan to be a ranged character with a slingshot? And that's projectile type. Do you want her to shoot liquid? That's another weapon type from the water gun. She can use a pointy weapon, it's called, with the pocket knife, so on and so forth. So right from the get-go, you decide which type of attacks your character is going to use. Now, you're not locked into that. You can change throughout the game, but from the get-go, you know, it's pretty fun to think about where you want to take your characters, and then when you play the game again, you might switch. Joan was a melee character. On the next playthrough, you might want to try her as a ranged character. Okay, so that's your starting equipment. The rest is your brown base equipment deck. Once you're done with your starting equipment, you'll shuffle them in here, and then all these cards, all 56 cards minus the starting equipment you took, that's going to form your equipment deck that you're going to draw from throughout the first couple of missions throughout the game. Now, that is only scratching the surface, because any fan of a dungeon crawler knows there's, whoops, that's not quite what I wanted. There's green equipment, better equipment, right? This is more rare, super cool stuff in here. Lone Wolf Slingshot, King of the Pool Squirt Gun, All or Nothing Driver, Stern Yet Fair Hammer. Again, I apologize, it's not quite auto-focusing on the cards. Perhaps if I hold them across my face, but you get the point. You have this nice, I'm going to call it sexy green equipment deck that you're going to be really excited to draw from. Well, when you get that chance, and it's not easy to get a chance to draw from the green equipment deck, so it is exciting when it occurs. But that's not all. Also have, of course, the blue equipment deck, and here's where you have your best equipment in the game, like, of course, the maggot-covered spatula. Show that to you. Of course, it causes sick damage. And you have your Kid Olympics fencing sword, Tiny Fred's croquet mallet to Superfan Tiny Fred. Shout out to Fred. If you're watching, thank you again for your support. Some really cool stuff in here that's going to Be pretty exciting when you get a chance to draw from it. That's not it. Okay, so you start the game with your brown equipment deck. You also start the game with your item deck. So that's where you have your orange juice and fruity bears and your milk and all the healing sort of stuff. That's going to help you throughout your journey, because you are going to get beat up as you adventure through the Bennert's farmhouse and their haunted house. So milk and orange juice and candy and everything else is going to come in handy. That deck will also grow, just like the equipment collections grow the other decks. And what I'm showing you now, the brown equipment deck, the item deck we just looked at, these are all available at the beginning of the game. Just like our 6 humanish monster weapons and our 6 beastly monster weapons. Certain monsters, when they spawn, I would show you a monster card, but we haven't opened those quite yet. That's okay. You'll get the concept. Certain monsters, such as our Bennert Lackey, his monster card will tell him to draw a monster weapon. Now, since he is a humanish, I guess I could move this so you guys can see what I'm fiddling around with, instead of hiding everything from you guys. It's kind of an impromptu video, as you can tell, not super professional, so I hope that's all right. But so you start with 6 humanish monster weapons. So when our boy Bennert Lackey spawns, you're going to draw one of these. I'm not going to look. And he is equipped with a Bug Scout slingshot. So you're going to place that next to his monster card, and this is going to add a light green die to his attack, and it turns him into a ranged monster. So he's going to shoot at you from afar, which is pretty cool. So, a lot of monsters, when they spawn, they might do something completely different based on the monster weapon that they randomly draw. The same is true on the beastly side. So some of our guard dogs, all the guard dogs, that's an example of a type of monster that would also draw a monster card. So if a dog was to spawn, he has a jagged nail. So that's kind of how that works. You have your drop deck. The drop deck, after you complete a fighting phase, so basically after you beat up some monsters, you get to draw from the drop deck at least once, sometimes up to 3 times, depending on how many groups of monsters spawned. So this is where you'll find some Bennert bucks. You'll find cards that allow you to draw from our decks over here, item deck, brown equipment deck. Monster trophies. These are how you unlock those equipment collections, which we'll look at in just a second. And then, so how do you draw from a green equipment deck? Well, when the green equipment deck is unlocked after mission 1, and I don't want to spoil too much, that's not a huge spoiler, but yes, the green equipment deck gets introduced after mission 1. You'll also shuffle this rare equipment card into your drop deck. So this goes in here, giving you the chance when you draw this, guess what? You then get to draw from the green equipment deck. So pretty cool there. But this card's not always available. You have to either defeat a monster with a green monster weapon, or some other things that can happen that allow you to put the rare equipment card into the drop deck temporarily. You draw once, twice, 3 times, depending on what happens. And then if you draw that green card, you get to draw from this again. Very sexy green equipment deck. All right, so this is all pretty exciting. I'm having fun just going through everything and chatting about it out loud with y'all. I hope you are enjoying this too. Okay, so I think we've covered just about everything thus far. We do have a lot more to check out though. We won't spend too much time, but I have referenced the equipment collections several times. So that is what's in here. Again, don't open until completing mission 1. So I'm not going to spoil anything because there's a reason why we tell you not to open it. Just because we don't want to have to introduce all these additional cards. But you've seen some of these weapons. But let's see here. So let me explain equipment collections real quick. Let me find a good one here for you. Don't want to spoil too much. All right. So here, this is appropriate. I'm wearing my Royal shirt. There's a lot of little references in here. You know, not just pandering to my own interest, but this one is. This is called Two-Hit Wits Bat. So this is named after Whit Merrifield, who's a great Royals player. But down here, it says Fairweather Fan Collection. You can see it's got that little blue ribbon at the bottom. So it is part of, you can see there's a bunch of cards with blue ribbons. They're all part of the Fairweather Fan Collection. In the mission guide, at a certain point in the mission guide, you're gonna be able to unlock the ability to spin monster trophies on equipment collections. So it'll say, I forget what it is exactly, but Fairweather Fan Collection, to unlock that, you need to spend one dog collar, one ferret collar, and one Bennert VIP badge or something like that. And if you have that, then you can unlock the Fairweather Fan Collection. Again, you take those 5 cards with the blue ribbons, shuffle them into their respective decks, and then you can find them later. And those are juiced up, powerful weapons. If you're the stars align and you are able to not only earn them to shuffle them in, but also to draw them. It's exciting when that happens. So without spoiling too much, we're not going to go through very many of those at all. Next up, our mini cards. These are all these decks are in absolutely perfect order, exactly what we were hoping for. So big props to the manufacturer for carrying that out. This is a very cool deck. This is all of our talents. So each of our family members can learn a ton of different talents. Let's just take a peek at Avalon's. All right, so I've talked about this before, but just to recap. So Avalon begins with, all the family members begin with one starting talent. Avalon's is called Concentrated Blow, and it allows her to roll 2 damage die instead of 1, and you get to keep the better roll. Okay? Now, you're going to earn what's called talent points as you go through the game. Those are really exciting to earn. They're not the easiest things to find. You'll earn talent points from leveling up sometimes, or you can get lucky and find more talent points. You can spin those. So if you want to go up to level 2 for her starting ability, it would cost you 2 talent points to upgrade from level 1 to level 2. And this card allows you to, instead of rolling 2 damage die, you roll 3 damage die and choose the best one. All right. So every family member has their starting talent, and then they have 2 different columns of 3 talents apiece for a total of 7 talents total. Each talent has 3 levels. So when you level up to, I believe, level 2, you're able to then choose, do you want Avalon's Tarot Cards ability, or do you want her, what's the next one? I think it's Stick and Move ability. that's up to you. So you get to choose whichever talent you want, and then those two can be upgraded with talent points just like we did Concentrated Blow. So there is a lot of character customization, a lot of decision making, which has always been important to me in these types of games. So we wanted to make sure that there's a nice, juicy talent deck for you to have all sorts of fun with and really think about how you want to build out your characters. And not just your characters, but your party collectively, because you are required to use all 4 family members. And I promise that's not as daunting as it sounds. There's a reason for that, and that's one is because the fun of this game, well, there's a lot of different elements of fun in this game, but one of my favorite is definitely thinking about how you're going to build out your family. Do you want Bill to be your tank? And if so, you want to choose the talents that are going to help him be as good of a tank as possible. Do you want Joan to focus on healing, or do you want her to focus on her syringe talents, where she can fill a syringe with holy water? If you choose that, well, the trade-off is you don't have her nurse-related skills where she can heal her husband or her kids or herself. But if you choose the offensive talents for Joan, then you might want to choose, you probably definitely want to choose the healing talents for Evelyn. So it's all about thinking, not only how am I going to create each character and build them up over the course of the game, but how am I going to create a well-oiled machine that is the family, so you can get through the Bennert's World of Terrors haunted house unscathed. Well, you're going to be scathed, but hopefully you make it out alive. I think the last component to share thus far, there's a few more, is this nice deck here. This is the only deck of cards that are these size, your standard size. I forget exactly what they're called. Apparently I forgot how to open a deck of cards. All right. In here you have your handy player aid, double-sided. So this tells you exactly how the game works. Just serves as a reminder in case you get caught up on a rule or something. And then over here it kind of breaks down the hierarchy of dice and the different actions you can perform on your turn. So right here it says, during the fighting phase, each FM, family member, FM is used a lot in this game because family member takes up too much space, and if I say family member 1,000 times in this game, that probably adds 20 more pages, so we have abbreviated to FM. During the fighting phase, each FM gets 2 actions. May not perform same action twice. So it tells you exactly what you can do on your family member's turn, and then whoops, and then yeah, right there it says move, attack, talent, offensive stance, defensive stance, all those things you can do. So you got your player A that each player can have in front of them to reference. You have all of your gorgeous monster cards. Those 2 are in order of when these monsters are usually introduced into the game. You've seen most of them. Most of these monsters we've shared. So these are great. These turned out amazing. You got a couple allies. We won't spoil that. That comes a little bit later in the game. And here's some big time spoilers, so we won't go through it, but these are the objective cards. So every mission has certain objectives that you go through that kind of tells the story of the mission and the next goal. So really during the game, completing a mission, it can take you 2 hours. If you're playing really well and efficiently, maybe a little less. If you know, if you are kind of taking your time, it could take up to 3 hours potentially. This is not one of those appetizer type of games. This is kind of the main event sort of game when you get your friends together. Now, if you do want to break up a gaming session, you want to play half of mission 1 Friday night and the rest Saturday night, you can easily do that by just, you know, using these as kind of checkpoints. So you get to objective 3 of mission 1 or objective 4. Find the staircase. And you say, well, let's do that tomorrow. So that's kind of your checkpoint. You know what's next in the mission. These are double-sided too, so how it works. So we'll just start with number 1. Objective 1 says, find the door to the basement, and then you read the instructions down the column, and these are usually like kind of little sub-instructions, okay? And then once it's complete, so complete with a question mark, the arrow means to flip the card. Boom, objective complete. There might be a little dialogue. This might send you to the mission guide for some more kind of in-mission dialogue or story. There might be additional instructions. There may be some rewards here when you complete an objective. So that system's really cool. And then, of course, once you're through the back side of the objective, it'll say discard and read objective 2. So then you do exactly what it says, and here's your next objective. And you're gonna repeat that until you get to the final objective of the mission, which could include a boss or something else exciting that happens. So one thing I do want to share without spoiling anything is shout out to Cole for every mission. If you can kind of see, every mission has a theme in its color scheme. So like, here's mission 5 and it's all green, which is really cool. And mission 6 is all purple. I don't want to spoil anything, but just I'm blown away by seeing these artistically. This is one of my favorite parts of the game because every one of these cards is unique. I just love it. I think it looks really cool, and the different theming of the colors, I think, will help you kind of just get you in the zone of that mission you're in. And then when you do think back to your experience of playing through this campaign, I think that'll help you remember, oh yeah, I remember mission 5. That's where I don't know. I think you will. I think you'll have a fun time remembering, your experience in some of these missions, and it all is kind of a seamless experience. As of course, the same color scheme exists in the mission guide, that exists on these cards. So I kind of rambled there for a second, but you can tell I'm kind of excited over that. Okay, one other thing that Magicraft kind of swung and missed on just a little bit, the dice. All right, so you are going to get 6 D6s for some reasons. You're going to get a D8. If you can tell, that's not the shape of a D8, that's a D10. So we need a D8 instead of a D10, no problem. What's missing though, the rest of the dice, the beautiful, beautiful custom dice were not included in this sample copy. I don't know why, but I promise they'll be included in your copy. At least they better be, right? Kind of important. You cannot play this game without those custom dice. Very important to a dice rolling dungeon crawler. So I wish I could share the final version of our custom dice today, but I can't. So that's all right. We will get that fixed, and that's why we have this sample copy in front of us. And then let's see if there's one more thing. There was some miscommunication on what belongs in this envelope. Do not open until completing mission 3. So there's some surprises in here. There's some things that are not surprises that are just, again, you have to play, including your player boards, which are right here. Joan, Avalon, Maddox, Bill, and yes, there might be maybe another one. We'll find out. Gonna have to complete mission 3. Now, what I am going to do, however, is these are much thinner than I prefer. We're gonna thicken these up and make these actual player boards. So, you know, similar to our punch boards here, I want them the same thickness and really durable, because you're gonna be putting tokens on and off and sliding stuff around and cards, and I just want these to be very durable for you. I would want that for any game I purchase as well, so we'll make sure that happens. Really though, that's most of it. Here's something cool. For the deluxe backers, here's what your additional punch board of monster alternative art looks like. So you have your alternative Bennett lackeys there, if you can tell. You have your alternative skeletons, restless bones we call them, different guard dogs, different mom bats we call them, because they always try to fight Joan. I just think that's funny, so we decided to run with that and call them mom bats. And then your alternate jackoons, raccoons with a jack-lantern on their head. So these are alternates for the deluxe edition backers. Okay, and then we also have our hit point and focus point dials there for you as well for the deluxe backers. So I think I have rambled on and on and on, and I hope you guys are excited. This is one of the most exciting days for me in a long time. It's just been so fun to see this vision come together, and it's all laid out in front of me for the most part how it's intended. So this game is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for you guys to get it in front of you. And really, instead of, you know, I can only do so much describing all these systems. And, you know, I talked about the equipment collections and how those work, and, you know, the various things you add to the drop deck, all that stuff, how the monster weapons work with certain monsters. You know, I can talk about that stuff till I'm blue in the face, but until you kind of experience the systems and how I think they really do fit together, really nice. Yeah, I'm just excited for you guys to experience not only all the gameplay mechanics, but what is most exciting to me above all that, as fun as I believe the game is, the most personal side of the Ghosts Betwixt is the story. The events that are going to happen to our heroes, the camaraderie, the love shared between the family members is drawn from personal experiences, and I think you're going to have a really good time getting to know each of these characters and see how they interact with one another in the story. And so that is particularly exciting. I just cannot wait for y'all to experience that. And of course, all the surprises that the Ghosts Betwixt has in store for you. So, I am excited. I hope you're excited too. Thank you so very much for watching this, for your support for, you know, the last months and years. To backers, thank you so much. For you who are still just following along, thank you very much too. I really appreciate it. Please, you know, let me know if you have any questions, any concerns potentially, any ideas or anything like that, and we will keep you posted on the next steps. So thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you soon.